Wait, seriously? 100% free? Hey guys, Beta 1 Studios right here with a rather interesting After Effects tutorial. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the After Effects plugin SABER, but just in case you aren't, SABER is a free video Copilot plugin that creates super awesome energy effects like this. But that's actually not the only thing you can use this plugin for. Don't know what I mean by that? Well, stick around and you'll find out. Alright, so here we are inside of After Effects, and I've already taken the liberty of setting up a quick background image here. It's just a stock metal grunge texture from Lost and Taken, so I'll drop a link down below if you want to have a look at other textures just like this one. Now, what we're going to be doing today is using the plugin SABER to create some interesting background lighting on this image. So our first step, as always, should be to create a new solid. I'll just name it SABER. And we'll go ahead and apply the SABER effect to our new layer. As you can see, our background image has disappeared, so let's go over to the render settings dropdown and change the composite from black to transparent so that our SABER renders on top of our background layer. Now, how I'm going to be doing this background lighting effect is quite simply dragging the SABER so that each end rests on one edge of our composition. That way, the SABER isn't the main focal point of our animation. Instead, it'll just be a light source. Really, you can put the SABER on any edge that you want the lighting to be on, but for right now, I'm going to put mine on the bottom edge. I'm also going to leave it slightly higher so that I can see the SABER while I'm editing it. Then later on, I can just drag it further down if I want to. So now that that's all set up, let's run through all the parameters on our SABER effect. Over here in the glow color, you can choose whatever color you want your light to be. I'll just make it red so we get a kind of fiery lighting effect. And now I'm going to crank up the glow intensity really high to maybe something like 350%. Just kidding. We're not even close to being done yet. Let's fix this up a little by bumping up the glow spread. Lower spread values make the glow more concentrated, and higher values will make it more spread out. And now let's take the core size and pull it down a notch or two. So yeah, this SABER kinda looks like a giant radioactive sausage right now. So let's just go ahead and hide it below the edge of our comp so that we get the light fall off from the glow of the SABER instead of having to see the whole thing. Alright, so let's open the Customize Core dropdown and take a look. If we adjust the start and end size of our SABER, it'll reduce the core size in increments, so this can be useful if you want one side of your SABER to be lit more than the other side. In this case though, I'll just set both the start and end size to 50%, which will halve the overall size on both ends of the SABER. You can also adjust the roundness of the core, but since we're not seeing the whole SABER, changing this isn't going to do much for us, so let's just leave it alone. Now, one really unique feature of SABER is the flicker option. If you used Video Copilot's optical flares before, then this should be nothing new to you. Flicker will allow you to animate realistic flicker effects, kind of like a flickering light bulb. This can really add a more realistic touch to your lighting, so I highly suggest that you at least consider putting in a little bit of faint flicker. Just to show you though, I'll set my flicker amount to 120% and speed to 20, which should be really noticeable if I just preview the animation real quick. And if you want to see even more randomized flickering, you can always change the random seed value to whatever you want as well. Alright, I think we've done all we can with the core settings here, so let's move on to our distortion settings. Under the glow distortion dropdown, we can do some really interesting stuff. If I just bump up the distortion amount here, you'll notice that the glow from our saber gets distorted into a more smoke-like texture. But if smoke wasn't what you were going for, I suggest changing the distortion type from smoke to fluid, which will make the distortion a little clearer but still very smooth. I personally prefer the fluid distortion over the smoke, but that's just my opinion. You can also set the noise scale, where a lower value will make your distortion very fine and grainy, and a higher value will make it much broader, which can be useful if you're trying to squeeze out just a bit more light fall off from your saber. Now, if you wanted to blur out this layer, you could just apply a simple box blur effect to it, but there's actually an easier way. Saber has a built-in motion blur, which is nice if you want to get a touch of blur into your saber distortion. There's also some settings for core distortion, but since we're just using the saber as a light source, changing these settings isn't exactly going to help us out all that much. This next dropdown, Glow Settings, just gives you more capabilities to fine-tune each aspect of your saber. You can play around with it if you want, but it won't change the animation all too much unless you do something totally crazy. Alright, so our saber backlighting is actually looking pretty good at this point. All that's left now is to make a few final adjustments. I think I can move the saber down just a little bit more here so that we get less of the saber and more of the light fall off. Also, I think I might want to take a second look at that glow spread value and make the core size a touch smaller. And there we go. That's how you can create some unique backlighting using Saber right inside of After Effects. So that's about all I've got. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this tutorial as much as I enjoyed making it, and I will catch you guys next time.